What to do after you buy a Chinese mini excavator.
Welcome to the Burnouts and Rotor Blades YouTube channel. Let's go do something awesome.
I recently bought a second Chinese mini excavator to add to my rental fleet. After several hundred hours of use, I thought it was time to share my experience and some cautionary tales. I hope it helps. First, I want to shout out the many Facebook group members bestowing great advice that fills the factory support vacuum. While this video is about Chinese machines in general, I want to split the BMER 350 machines into two groups right off: the smooth-faced track drive motor or the guaranteed to fail track drive motor. The rest is pretty common. If you want to see how to fix the failure motor, I got a video right up here. She looks good from here, but experience and horror stories have taught me that trust in manufacturer process is a concept we are throwing out right now. Before we can get this guy off the trailer, let's take a look at the engine. And in case you're wondering, yeah, I am doing all of this, including the filming, on the trailer. On this model, fueling is done by flipping the seat forward to access the top of the engine. I've grown to hate these little wing nuts and the little rubber isolators that only last about 10 hours before a renter loses a wing nut and the isolator's destroyed. I tried running it without the isolators and it felt like my eyes were vibrating. So I replaced those with rubber hockey pucks, some used metric hardware from the bolt bin, and exactly 0 measuring devices, and it works great. Well, that's interesting. Random bolt. Oh, yeah, that's what it came from. It's supposed to hold the seat bracket in. Well, at least in the fuel cell it looks good. This is the fuel control valve that lets the fuel into the carburetor. It was left in the on position, and in all the shipping and whatever was done, there's a high likelihood of the crankcase filling up with fuel. So it is very important to drain the oil because it is super thin. Icky stuff coming out of there. Some moisture. After a splash of brake clean, we'll add some 15W40 because I live in Texas and summers here are hotter than Satan's taint. We'll clean up with another splash of brake clean and begin the okay, that's enough. And begin the process of putting a wrench on every single piece of hardware we can reach because most of it will be loose. You can dive as deep as you'd like foraging for loose hardware. I'm looking at most final assembly items and using a mix of Facebook group tribal knowledge and just touching everything. It's important to check the rigging on the choke and throttle control cables. All the controls the customer interfaces with should be set to a standard. The throttle must go all the way to idle easily and get as close to maximum throttle as possible with smooth operation throughout the range. Rigging cable controls on aircraft was an important job during my decade as a jet engine mechanic in the Air Force. It can be very tedious, and for the price point of these machines, I doubt the assembler had time to dial this in, or maybe my expectations are too high. Either way, I'll give similar treatment to the choke, though it's probably most important the choke closes all the way, though some engines might need full choke.
Choke me, daddy.
Choke me, daddy.
Oh, you know what? I didn't put any gas in it. I'm not 100% sure why this seat is so off. These seats are better than standing. At some point, I will join the ranks of those that have upgraded to the cheapest seat my local farm supply has to offer. They all look like they were assembled by commuters impatiently waiting for a light to change at a crosswalk in Beijing. However, these two have held up to hundreds of hours of DIY or lap dances and seen more weather than a folding chair in a trailer park without any issues. I trailer my machines a couple of times a week on average. If you don't have a full tank of fuel and the hydraulic fluid filled well above the full line before you go down the ramps, it's going to be a bad day. A few inches below the fill cap is a good place to start. Alright, so I just got my little Chinese mini excavator seat popped up. I wanted to inspect inside the tank since it's empty. So the inside of the tank looks like. Yeah, there was a little bit of slag in there, but I wouldn't say it was a ton. But that's that soy-based, or at least what people claim is soy-based oil. And then there was no gasket whenever I took the lid off. Time to get the old AW46 hydraulic oil down the hatch. We need to talk about grease. This is your new best friend with the Chinese mini excavator. Grease is vital to the machine longevity and smooth operation. I grease every 10 hours at a minimum using the least expensive parts store grease. A 10-hour grease interval is pretty standard if you look at enough equipment operators manuals. You should grease more often in dusty or wet environments or after a wash or anytime you hear a squeak. Using this adapter kind of sucked, and I was much happier once I set up a second grease gun to service these low-profile metric grease fittings. The fittings themselves, they're not bad, just different, and they've grown on me. The grease needs room to work. If you have a machine with these locking nuts on all of the pins, they're not supposed to be tight. There needs to be room for the grease in between the metal surfaces. Overly tight pins can cause more friction, wear, and can contribute to jerkiness and even make the machine feel like it doesn't have any power. I've adopted the practice of tightening them down and backing them off a half a turn. Every joint should have a grease fitting. Several of mine were just missing.
Yep, no grease circ there either. Thanks, China.
Some of them are in stupid places that make you want to harm engineers you've never even met. If you break one off, get it out of there and replace it.
Got it.
I found this replacement online and it works pretty well.
Let's say you accidentally kill it because it's in too high of a position. Switch on, battery on, lift this guy up, and then use the starter.
These are the grease fitting service lines that go to the swing bearing. Mine were twisted and wouldn't even accept grease. After straightening them out and tightening everything down, they require about 20 pumps from the grease gun just to fill the line. Once the lines are full, it's important to grease at multiple points to make sure the entire gear and bearing gets greased. This is most important for the initial service.
Wasn't paying attention and it got the best of me.
So I apply several pumps of grease, about 8 points or every 45 degrees of rotation for the entire lap around the machine. With everything greased, we can continue our side quest of tightening everything. That includes tightening up some wire routing by adding zip ties and securing hoses and wiring to hopefully prevent me or a renter from ripping another light harness off. Yep, I said another. As for the track tension, it's more of a feeling. However, this clip should give you a pretty good idea of the correct tension. Too loose is annoying because the track will continue to fall off, and too tight you'll start destroying components. So err on the side of just loose enough not to fall off. So tighten the jam nut to German torque, Guten tight, or adopt this general torque specification document from the Navy or, in this case, the FAA.
This is the swing motor. We're going to see if it's loose from the factory. You know what? That's not bad. My previous version, these come loose all the time.
To help keep things tight, I'm removing all 4 mounting bolts and adding blue Loctite. Some say to do the same thing to the swing bearing bolts. They need to be torque checked at the very least.
You have to tighten these big Allens like that one right there, and that one right there, because if not, this could happen to you.
While I was over here, I noticed this seems very wrong. So I got activation here, and that spins back, and then it just goes all the way like this. So something's not right. That operates the auxiliary, which is going to be important later. So over here is our valve block. Some kind of janky setup here. Precision fit, I guess.
All this linkage needed was a jam nut to prevent the threaded rod from rotating in the turnbuckle, which isn't a big deal. However, there are so many of these little final inspection items. I bring this up because it's important to point out that if you're buying machines from Marketplace or, quote,
That's good enough for government work.
dealers with 0 hours on it, you're probably not getting what you think you are. A dealer's just a person. If I buy a few of these, I can call myself a dealer.
Well, she's on there.
It takes me about 5 hours of shakedown to really feel comfortable with one of these machines.
You see they've done some welding after paint, zooming on that fitting.
My guess is there may have been a bit of a leak, and they decided to throw another pass underneath after paint and all that. So that'll be fun to deal with later when there's a leak.
Not a huge fan about what they did to this line here.
I call my two mini excavators that I currently have Thing 1 and Thing 2. Thing 1 blew two $500 pump motors within 5 hours of me owning it. This exact machine, Thing 2, blew a hole in the main hydraulic pressure line from the pump at 8 hours. No chafing, no damage, just a hole.
So up underneath here we can see that the shroud that connects to the bottom of the machine is not installed very well. But also, I'm going to pay close attention to this. This is what holds on the gear to the swing motor. And, it's tight, so that's a good thing. Okay, they're tight, but they're probably cross-threaded.
The teeth on these mini excavators come installed like this, but I agree with the people that say they are better off installed inside the bucket. If the dealer has a few hours on a machine from dialing it in, it's probably a better deal than a 0 hour machine straight off the boat from China. If you have had a failure on your low hour machine, I'd love to hear about what happened, what machine it was, and what you did to fix it in the comments. If you're in the market for a machine, look in the comments. If you like what you've seen so far, please click all the likes and subscribes and all that stuff to make the machines happy. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.